Our world is far more amazing than it may appear at first glance. In this episode, you will witness rare natural phenomena, unexpected animal behavior, and incredible moments that can be difficult to explain. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss another fascinating episode. This fish looks almost as if it is made of glass. Its transparent body helps it stay hidden, even when something gets close. It is hard to believe that a creature this large can leap out of the water with such grace. Seeing these whale breaches in person must be truly spectacular. The passengers on this plane were incredibly lucky. They got to witness the launch of Orion on its journey to the moon. This red tint is no accident. Fine desert dust scatters the light, making everything around it look strange and even frightening. Certain genetic traits can indeed make the human body truly unique. From the outside, it looks dangerously close. In reality, everything is carefully calculated, and they are separated by a safe altitude. Your heart drops when a giant like this comes charging toward you at full speed. Not long ago, something like this would have sounded like science fiction. Today, rockets can return on their own and land on a special platform in the middle of the ocean. This is what happens when you forget to take down your Christmas wreath on time. Eventually, it becomes a cozy home for new tenants. These waves are far from random movements. This is how bees defend their swarm against hornets, wasps, and other enemies. Usually, you have to search for good spots to watch birds. Here, so many vultures have gathered that it is almost impossible to take them all in at once. Before your eyes is Mount Fuji, an active volcano and symbol of Japan. Its rare beauty looks even more impressive from above. The car is literally driving upward where it seems impossible to do so. Oh, that is B. This waterfall in Yosemite National Park is famous around the world. It becomes especially impressive when sunlight turns its mist into a real rainbow. Here, speed does not matter much. Every movement is a struggle to gain the next meter. The eruption of Fuego volcano in Guatemala is a sight people are willing to go to great lengths to witness. What happens here is difficult to put into words. You have to see it at least once. Here, nature shows its real power. Lava bursts out with such force that you can feel it even from a distance. Of course, people go on dives like this knowing all the risks. Even so, hardly anyone expects a shark to suddenly behave so aggressively. At that moment, the lawn suddenly looked like something straight out of a horror movie. If you closed your eyes, you might think someone spilled a mountain of glass nearby. In reality, it is simply hail pounding against the rocks. In 2018, a music festival in Germany got an unexpected show that was never on the program. A powerful whirlwind lifted tents into the air and started tossing them around. Destroyed roads and flooded homes are far from the only problems caused by a flood. Sometimes the creatures carried in by the rushing water can be even more frightening. It looks like a fight, but in most cases, this dance is not between rivals at all. It is snakes during mating season, entwining their bodies as they twist and rise above the ground for long periods. Watching footage like this makes it easy to understand why thousands of aviation enthusiasts are willing to wait for hours beside a runway for just a few seconds of this spectacle. This is not a piece of Play-Doh or a stone, but a Mexican tree frog. To survive a dry period, it covers its body with a special waxy layer that helps retain moisture, turning it almost into an immobile living rock. Thousands of eels gather for a long journey from the east coast of Australia toward the Coral Sea. And we are moving on at the speed of light. The most interesting things are still ahead. This frog carries its eggs right on its back, protecting them until they finally hatch. From the outside, it looks like an orchid, but it is a pine sap, a plant without chlorophyll that feeds on fungi. It is no accident that the water's surface is boiling. Hundreds of stingrays are underneath, and right now it is their mating season. Just ordinary water, yet somehow every sip brings so much pleasure. An elephant's trunk is more than a body part. It is a real tool that allows it to lift even heavy fruits with ease. It feels as though capybaras have no idea what hostility or aggression are. Perhaps that is why completely different animal species can so often be found right beside them. No sudden movements, just a calm glide that makes everything around it seem more peaceful. Judging by their colors, it is almost as if these butterflies chose this exact spot, so they could blend into their surroundings as much as possible. Apparently, the wind here is so powerful that the bird has to balance in midair just to stay in the same position. A rare oarfish was spotted in the shallow waters off the coast of Mexico. This fish usually lives at great depths and rarely comes so close to the surface. Streams of glowing lava carve their way forward, revealing a force that seems impossible to stop beneath our feet. Volcanologists often work in extreme conditions while collecting samples of glowing lava. Once the conditions are right, these creatures begin reproducing at an incredible rate, turning huge areas of the ocean into a living cloud. When you ask for just a little volume, but the hairdresser has a completely different idea, it looks like very few people here will be willing to step outside in the next few hours. Looks like this motorcycle suddenly picked up some new passengers, and there are quite a lot of them. It looks as though someone placed a giant white dome over the peak, but it is actually a cloud that perfectly matches the mountain's shape. You can learn about a party at your neighbor's house without even getting an invitation. The ceiling will tell you everything. In 2020, residents of a city in Thailand faced an unexpected problem. The streets were literally taken over by an army of monkeys. The elephant looks absolutely thrilled to be taking a bath. However, the people nearby would clearly rather watch from a safe distance. Judging by this visitor's persistence, the idea of private property is clearly unfamiliar to him. As the water began rising quickly, residents and rescuers in Bedford got to work delivering sandbags to hold back the advancing water. The sound of cracking ice is enough to make your heart stop. And when an entire wall of ice starts moving right after it, the scene becomes truly unsettling. It is hard to believe this is not a storm front. In reality, what you are seeing is a powerful sandstorm that can reduce visibility dramatically within minutes. What a twist. You probably did not expect to see this either, did you? Some old trees can store dozens of liters of water inside themselves. When the trunk cracks open, all that water suddenly pours out. Without knowing what is going on, it is easy to mistake this for a fight. But there is a good chance we are watching one of the strangest mating rituals in the animal world. If there were a championship for the deepest sleep, this fluffy contestant would clearly be competing for first place. When you see a cloud like this, it is easy to think something incredible is hanging over the city. In reality, this is a roll cloud, a striking atmospheric phenomenon that often comes with thunderstorms, strong winds, and heavy rain. When cold rain falls onto glowing lava, it looks as though two completely different forces are colliding at once. From the side, it appears as though he is simply standing in midair, but it is all a trick of perspective and movement. Now look, the clouds here do more than drift across the sky. They create the impression of slowly spilling over the peaks and flowing down the slopes like a giant snow-white waterfall. The sky seemed to come alive with colors. It was so cool. And it is hard to understand how something like this is even possible. A rainbow is almost always linked with joy and something good. And when a double rainbow appears in the sky, the entire landscape starts to look almost like something from a fairy tale. Beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. Even ordinary ice can look like something completely unreal. Apparently, the raccoons decided they had found their long-lost relative, and now they are trying to get as close as possible. Sometimes the most interesting conversation is the one you have with yourself. Before us is the hummingbird hawk moth, one of the few moths capable of hovering in the air like a tiny helicopter. That is why it is so often mistaken for a hummingbird. In weather like this, even an ordinary branch can become a dangerous projectile. Perhaps this chicken has too many important things to do today to simply walk at a normal pace. It is precisely this camouflage that helps these birds survive encounters with much more dangerous neighbors. No matter what is happening around you, you certainly should not turn down a delicious snack. During the ice drift on the Yukon River, this moose found itself separated from the shore among endless moving ice floes. Judging by how confidently it moves, this route has clearly been practiced many times before. The moment the scooter was left unattended, a very organized group immediately took control of it. It is hard to imagine a less pleasant surprise than discovering something like this right outside your house. When you see a pool and decide that the rules of relaxation should be the same for everyone, this beach is a real paradise. Not so much for vacationers, but definitely for aviation enthusiasts. Orchid bees are famous for their metallic emerald coloring. Even more amazing is that the males collect flower scents and use them like perfume to attract mates. It looks as though this spider has grown a thick layer of fur. In reality, it is carrying an entire army of tiny spiderlings on its back. At night, This porcupine looks as if it is covered not only in quills, but also in glowing armor. Look at that. That's one. This is a Temminck's tragopan, a bird that clearly has no idea what modesty means when it comes to appearance. The blue-tongued skink gets its name from its unusual bright blue tongue, which it displays when threatened to scare away predators. From the outside, it looks like an extreme amusement ride. In reality, these are simply ordinary working days for specialists servicing high-voltage lines. You do not see a street unexpectedly turn into a real fish market every day. Sometimes, for the perfect advertisement, all you need is a very charismatic dog sitting in a pickup truck. After that, the truck is sure to get plenty of attention. Riding a bicycle underwater is clearly not the most practical idea, but the result looks absolutely surreal. The girl deliberately lowered the camera to the bottom to capture the video from a very unusual angle, and judging by the result, the idea worked incredibly well. Even experienced divers admit that encountering a whale shark leaves a truly special impression. You do not get many chances to be this close to a fish of such massive proportions. He was certain he would have enough time to step back, but the sea clearly had other plans. When a view like this appears in front of you, the road is probably the last thing you are thinking about. Thousands of Paris lights at night may look almost faceless from above. However, this silhouette is impossible to mistake for anything else. Some people go out to sea to relax, while others clearly go looking for another dose of adrenaline. It is unclear what this dog has planned, but it certainly looks like everything happening is part of some clever scheme. Even with safety gear, a climb like this takes serious preparation, experience, and strong nerves. Despite their threatening appearance, alligators usually prefer not to waste energy and simply watch what is happening around them. Ignore when shopping plans clearly go far beyond the standard list. By every law of logic, this car should not be driving at all, yet somehow, it is still running. While the sheep rests peacefully, there is plenty of work going on around it. Birds skillfully collect its wool to use later for insulating their nests. Come on, come on, come on, come on. She looks as though she has just heard something completely outrageous and is now demanding an immediate explanation. When killer whales gather in groups like this, it often means a joint hunt or a family migration is about to happen. Most often, this kind of behavior points to panic underwater, with thousands of fish trying to escape in a matter of seconds. This is not an attempt to escape. The snake is simply doing what it naturally does, burrowing and searching for a safe place. Everything happens faster than you can process. In a split second, the mouse is already caught in the bird's talons. She moves with such confidence, almost as if gravity does not matter to her. Every evening, millions of bats pour out of a cave in Cambodia, filling the sky before heading out on their nightly hunt. It is hard to believe that this huge structure was built by tiny insects, literally millimeter by millimeter. It looks as though the world has been divided into two parts, with the border running right through here. There are creatures that can make even a harmless cave suddenly look like a place you should never enter. Cave crickets are definitely among them. Sometimes all animals need to feel safe is to stick together. Honestly, I am speechless after seeing this. What about you? When something with such a strange shape appears on the surface of the water, your imagination immediately starts creating the most unbelievable explanations. When a snake this massive appears on the road, it is clear that she is the one making the traffic rules today. These creatures are known as the Venus girdle, and they look like they came straight from another planet. Thousands of sardines suddenly appeared off the coast of Mexico, turning the water near the shore into a moving silver cloud. Starling murmuration is one of the most mesmerizing natural phenomena, with each bird reacting to its neighbor's movements within fractions of a second. From the outside, it looks more like a living cloud that is constantly changing shape. Apparently, somewhere in the calculations or underground work, something went completely wrong. As a result, the road literally started collapsing right before people's eyes. It really makes you uneasy when the ground starts cracking and smoke begins coming from inside, doesn't it? People decided to push the boulder down themselves so it would not fall later without warning and cause a tragedy. The wind suddenly went wild and turned everything around into complete chaos within a matter of minutes. For newly hatched turtles, this journey to the ocean is the first and perhaps most dangerous challenge of their lives. Many people do not realize how much reptiles can change their appearance while shedding. In moments like this, it looks as if the animal is literally removing its old shell. When you see a flock moving like this, it starts to look as though the birds are responding to some kind of shared signal. The fact that elephants are incredibly intelligent animals has long been known. What is especially striking, however, is how much care and empathy they can show, even when helping other creatures in trouble. A hippo's appetite is truly impressive. In a single sitting, it can eat dozens of kilograms of food. A lot of effort and time went into this maneuver, but he managed to see it through to the end. Before watching videos like this, it would probably be a good idea to have some sedative pills nearby. You need nerves of steel for this. Sometimes rare mammatus clouds appear in the sky. Their unusual shape is caused by complex processes inside thunderclouds. In ice climbing, there is no room for unnecessary movements. Every strike determines whether you can move forward. There is no chaos here. Everyone knows their role and clearly understands where they need to run. This car was built at full scale and assembled entirely from Lego parts. When a bus is too large for the turn, you have to turn the road itself. Clearing snow from bridges can look almost like a natural event, as if a waterfall of snow is pouring down from above. It seems like the entire city is under human control, but sometimes nature reminds us that it is still there, and it does so in a way that is impossible to ignore. This iceberg has become a real icy attraction for penguins. It looks like someone ordered pizza and decided to share it with the entire flock. This otter clearly knows how to enjoy a winter walk. Looking at a cow like this, it is hard to believe it is an ordinary farm animal, but everything is explained by a rare genetic trait that gives its muscles unusual strength. At sunset, Mount Fuji casts a massive shadow that stretches straight into the sky, creating a truly unusual sight. Penguins cannot fly, but underwater they are true masters. While hunting, they can dive to depths of up to 500 meters and move with the same confidence birds have in the sky. Thousands of birds move like a single organism, instantly changing their shape and direction. This rare and mesmerizing phenomenon is known as murmuration. A piece of ice that looks completely solid suddenly shatters into fragile fragments like crystal. Whether this was a rare moonbow or someone almost decided to put on a spectacular light show. The pink sky over Birmingham left the residents wondering whether it was the northern lights or the result of an accident at a chemical plant. However, the explanation was much simpler. Low clouds and snow reflected the light from St. Andrew Stadium, making the city look completely unreal for several hours. The organizers planned a spectacular start, but the participants decided to make it even more massive. Now the main challenge is finding enough open space to build up speed. Nature needs no decorations or filters. Frost, sunlight, and the perfect moment are all it takes. Shelf clouds may look mesmerizing, but they are often the ones that bring sudden storms. Another piece of proof that camera operators must be immortal. Because of a rare optical phenomenon called fata morgana, distant objects can appear to rise above the horizon, creating the illusion of a ship floating in the air. Nature here seems to be drawing as if it were designing a microchip. A night road rarely prepares you for encounters like this. What the headlights reveal for just a split second can leave you stunned and wondering whether you really saw it. Along the slope, dozens of colorful columns of smoke rise into the sky at the same time, turning an ordinary landscape into a giant rainbow canvas. It looks as though lightning has frozen among the branches, but this time it was not created by the elements, but by someone's bold idea. When sunlight hits at just the right angle, an ordinary fountain suddenly bursts into every color of the rainbow. An incredible winter landscape looks almost completely still until the surface suddenly begins cracking into dozens of separate ice flows. Not everyone can say they have earned this much trust from birds. Few people know that ants have a clear survival strategy when floods arrive. They link together and form a living raft. In just a few seconds, the building disappears completely, leaving behind nothing but a cloud of dust. Sometimes it is better not to find out what has moved into the ventilation system and simply start thinking about moving out. Every sunrise is beautiful in its own way, but this one turned out to be special. The sky still holds the trail left by a rocket. Encounters like this in the sky are rare, and they look truly spectacular. While everyone else is rushing somewhere, he is simply taking the time to enjoy the moment. The future is already here, and it seems to know how to surprise us and even serve us.